Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Kano Tryharding Modern, where today we will be playing Dredge, the thrilling discovery version. This is a version that 5.0'd recently. I'm still not sure exactly how I'm supposed to sideboard with this deck, because this deck has 3 singleton ley lines in the sideboard. Or exactly what matchups they're for, I'm not certain. I'll need to... I'm still kind of working on improving my Dredge skills. And I'm not super good at playing Dredge. I understand a lot of the lines, but I don't see them in the moment. So we'll see if we can do any better today. And I'll see you guys in round 1. Alright, we're on the draw for round 1, and we have some Dredgers, but no way to enable them. And we're against a Luris deck. If we get Thought Seized, it's kind of funny because they would have to take something that we want in the grave, but the problem is we have no way to get a Dredger into the grave, so I think we have to mulligan. This hand is also bad. I feel better with 2 Cathartic Reunion effects. I'm going to put back an Arid Mesa, and I think I have to put back Forgotten Cave. Dakmor Salvage as my only Dredger seems less than ideal, but... Alright, it's Burn. Opponent attacks, revealing Narcomoeba. Play Arid Mesa, pass the turn. Well, we can use this Goblin Guide as a... kind of litmus test if we want to draw our top deck here. If it's a Dredger, I'm not going to fetch. If it's anything else, I think I will. So we have a Shriekhorn on top of our deck. They hit us for 2, down to 16. And they pass. So we crack Arid Mesa. We will get a Stomping Ground, tapped. Untap. We draw Ox of Agonis. So play Mana Confluence. Red-white, well, Thrilling Discovery. Hopefully we actually get to gain the life here. We do not, because our opponent got Skullcrack, which is what I was afraid of. We will use Thrilling Discovery's ability, dumping Dakmor Salvage and Ox. We dredge, and we dredge. Ultimately hitting nothing. Pass the turn. Well, the good news is we can activate the Ox next turn. Opponent attacks us for 2. Okay, they play Eidolon. We untap, we dredge Thug. Hitting nothing. Alright, so we're gonna Ox. We're gonna rely on Creeping Chill to get our life total back to where it should be. So get rid of a bunch of stuff we don't need in the grave. One more card, huh? I guess it'll be a Wooded Foothills. Okay. So Prized Amalgam triggers. Dump our whole hand. Dredge Stinkweed Imp. Dredge Golgari Thug, and I guess Dredge Dakmor Salvage. Get a Narcomoeba, trigger all the Amalgams. Always yes, always yield. Play Dakmor Salvage, we'll get our Bloodghasts. Go to combat, and then pass, because we can't attack, nothing has haste. Get back 3 Amalgams. If we get just like another good Dredge and hit a Creeping Chill, we should be out of range. Or if we can get a Conflagrate, that might be enough. We untap. Dredge Thug. I don't really want to cast any spells if I can. I think I would just rather dig as deep as possible for Creeping Chills. We will use Creeping Chill's ability. So if I swing out... Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure the combat math works in such a way that we win. So versus Burn. Like actual Luris Burn here. I imagine we want Leyline because of things like Skullcrack. Yeah, they play a lot of actually targeted burn spells. So I will bring in the Leyline of Sanctity. I don't know that I need... Well, I guess I should see what their Grave Hate is. Their Grave Hate is Rest in Peace. Okay, in that case, I will bring in Nature's Claim. I'll cut, I think a Loam, a Narcomoeba, and a Shriekhorn. We'll try it like this. I could also run Blast Zone, I guess. Or Engineered Explosives. But I think I'm going to try just this. I will keep this. Opponent starts Mountain, Swift Spear. We draw Sacred Foundry. So, play a Sacred Foundry tapped. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a Scalding Tarn. Cracks a Scalding Tarn. Gets a Sacred Foundry. Plays a second Swift Spear. Then plays a Goblin Guide. They're going to attack us for 4. Okay, there's a Thrilling Discovery on top of our deck. We untap. We draw Thrilling Discovery. So play Bloodstained Mire. Fetch. Shock. Want to make sure I have green for Nature's Claim. We will use Thrilling Discovery's ability, discarding Bloodghast and Stinkweed Imp. Dredge. We hit nothing else. No other replacement effects. That is quite unfortunate. But in theory, we haven't milled our basic mountain. If my opponent doesn't have a Rest in Peace immediately, or even if they do have a Rest in Peace, we get Nature's Claim and then reload. The concern, I guess, is my opponent just burning us out right now. They attack us for 4, revealing Conflagrate. They Boros Charm us, so we're taking 10. We're dead to Lightning Bolt, which it looks like they have. Yep. It's possible I didn't need to fetch and shock there, because I would have still been alive, but not 100% on that. So, if I bring in Blast Zone, what do I take out? A fetch land? I don't want the colorless land. I'm really like... This is where my inexperience with Dredge is kind of shining through. Alright, I will play first. That's a mulligan. This is almost what we need. We have Leyline and we have Nature's Claim, but we have no lands. If this hand had even a single land, I would keep. We just need to draw a land for this hand to work, so I'm going to put back 2 Creeping Chills. We can shuffle them in with the Bloodstained Mire, getting a Stomping Ground, but we need to draw a second land for this hand to work. I want to start Sacred Foundry untapped, plays a Swift Spear. They hit us for 1. We untap and draw a Stomping Ground. Do we just go for a big Dredge? We have Nature's Claim as a backup. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Fetch with Bloodstained Mire, get Sacred Foundry. Cathartic Reunion, ditching Thug and Bloodghast. Dredge, Dredge, Dredge. Get a Creeping Chill. Well, that undoes the fetch and shock. The problem is I have a naked graveyard right now. So if my opponent has Rest in Peace, we're probably screwed. Okay, well, they don't have Rest in Peace. Doesn't look like. Alright, so we played correctly. Because our opponent did not have Rest in Peace. Another Cathartic Reunion on top probably means game. That's where information about the draw was important for whether or not we should actually dredge that turn. So we get back a ton of stuff. We have chump blockers. If my opponent is slow rolling a Rest in Peace, that's bad, but they shock, then they pass. We untap. Kind of want to draw a land, but I'm also gonna Ox probably. Yeah, let's just try and draw a land here. Okay, we drew Creeping Chill. That's actually really bad. Should have dredged. So activate the Ox. Dump everything. Honestly, I kind of want to just not dredge. Or dredge once to see if we can hit the Conflagrate we have. Yeah, we only have 1 Conflagrate. So if we can dredge and see Conflagrate, we should stop, I think. That might not be how this works, actually. So dredge 5, dredge 5. There's Conflagrate. I can't get 2 lands to play Conflagrate, but I will take the Dakmor Salvage. I play 4 Creeping Chills. We've used 1. And we'll get Dakmor. I want the Bloodghast on the board, if possible. So go to combat. Attack our opponent for 9. We're leaving back maximum blockers. Opponent is going to double block a Prized Amalgam. That's fine. Boros Charm, 4 damage to us. They might still be able to burn us out. Play Dakmor Salvage. Get our Bloodghasts. Did my opponent Boros Charm themselves? No. No, that is not what happened. Kano Brain not work. They play a Sunbaked Canyon. We're dead to 2 Lightning Bolts. There's 1. There's 2. Well, they just had it. If I had dredged instead of trying to draw and be cute that one time, I would have hit that Creeping Chill and we'd have won. Unless my opponent had another Lightning Bolt as their last card in hand. But, like I said, not the most experienced Dredge player. We're learning. Alrighty. Welcome back to round 2, everybody. And this hand is a little slow, but we can dump everything to Conflagrate. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep. At least versus a Lurrus deck, if anything gets Thought Seized, it speeds us up. Fetch up a basic mountain, and we'll cast Conflagrate, 0 targets. Pass the turn. Alright, it's burn, so we can at least kill their first creature. It's a Goblin Guide. We draw Cathartic Reunion. New plan! Let's go ahead and cast a Cathartic Reunion. We'll dump Thug and Stinkweed Imp. So Dredge Imp, and Dredge Thug. Okay, we hit 2 Creeping Chills and nothing else. Pass the turn. So we're now up to 2 more life than we started with. Next turn we can Ox, and our last dredge can be Dakmor Salvage to get back Bloodghast, to get back Prized Amalgam. The legendary Triple Goblin Guide. We untap. The top card of our deck is Shriekhorn. So Dredge Dakmor Salvage. Go to our main phase. Cast the Ox. Okay, so trigger Prized Amalgam. Dump our hand. Dredge Imp. Dredge Imp. Dredge Salvage. Say yes to both Narcomoebas. Play Salvage. Get back 3 Bloodghasts. Then pass the turn. So next turn we can Dredge Loam and then Conflagrate, clearing the way and kill our opponent. So opponent plays an Arid Mesa. They go to combat. They don't attack. Alright? We untap. Dredge Loam. Get a Creeping Chill. I mean, if they have Skullcrack, they can... Alright. It's good enough. So Leyline of Sanctity in, Nature's Claim in, and I'm going to bring in Blast Zone this time. I think I am going to cut a Arid Mesa for the Blast Zone. I don't think trimming Narcomoeba was correct. I think I trim a Bloodghast here. Because Narcomoeba is a free get back on Dredge that does block, and Bloodghast doesn't block here. What was the other card I cut? I'm going to cut a Shriekhorn. I'm going to cut 1 more Bloodghast. Alright, we'll try it like this. Alright, we have Cathartic Reunion, 2 cards we want in the grave, but no Dredgers. And no Leyline and no Anti-Grave Hate. So we're going to mulligan that. We're probably mulliganing this as well. Do I keep off of a Leyline alone? I don't have Nature's Claim, but I do have some good Dredge cards. I think I'm going to try to keep this. It's a little bit slow, but if I get a second land... I almost clicked through that prompt, and that would have been so bad. If I get a second land, I should be fine. But I need a second land relatively quickly. Okay. Opponent plays a Goblin Guide, attacks us, we reveal Ox, play Mana Confluence, and pass. If my opponent has Rest in Peace, we're basically done for. They Boros Charm for double strike. We draw Thrilling Discovery, pass the turn. I suppose there's always the discard to hand size Dredge possibility. Opponent fetches up a mountain. They're probably putting Lurrus into their hand if they need a 3rd mana off the bat. They are. Land. Blood Crypt. Perfect. We untap and draw Bloodstained Mire. So Bloodstained Mire, fetch, get a mountain. We will use Thrilling Discovery's ability. Let's discard Imp and Imp. Dredge Imp. Dredge Imp. Dredge Thug. Get back a Narcomoeba. Get back 2 Amalgams, and drain our opponent. Pass the turn. Perfect. All according to Keikaku. Translator's note, Keikaku means plan. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 3. Alright, round 3 we're on the play. This is mulligan. This is also a mulligan. I can make this work, I think. So I'm going to put back Creeping Chill and a Bloodghast. And we are going to start by fetching Stomping Ground and playing a Shriekhorn. Pass the turn. Opponent starts Bloodstained Mire, so on our opponent's end step, mill ourself. Untap. Mill ourself again. Dredge Imp. Going to play Conflagrate no targets. So we have a Dakmor Salvage in this deck, which might mean we just keep dredging until we find that. Opponent fetches up a Bloodstained Mire... fetches up a Blood Crypt off of Bloodstained Mire tapped. They play Blackcleave Cliffs. They play Magmatic Channeler. We untap. Dredge Loam. There's Dakmor Salvage. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Hopefully they don't have a way to exile that Dakmor Salvage. Because if so, we have to start drawing naturally, which would suck. Okay. Opponent plays Bloodstained Mire. Cracks it. Gets a Swamp. Triple black, plays Liliana of the Veil. They make us discard, so we discard Bloodghast. They discard Kroxa. Presumably they attack for 1, right? Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Alright. We untap, Dredge Dakmor Salvage, mill myself a little bit more. Okay. Creeping Chill my opponent. Go to my main phase. Get back Bloodghast. Get back Bloodghast. Pass the turn. Get back Prized Amalgam. Opponent untaps. So we can now cast Loam, which is important. We ditch Stinkweed Imp here. I think my opponent's deck has a lot of Grave Hate out of the board. Opponent ditches Magmatic Channeler. They play Kroxa. We discard a Thug. The opponent does nothing. We untap. Dredge Imp. Go to our main. Pick up Mountain, Forgotten Cave, Bloodstain Mire. Go to combat. Attack everything at Liliana, I think. Yeah, we can hit Lily down to 1. Opponent chumps a Bloodghast. Bolts a Prized Amalgam. Okay, Lily goes to 3. Play a Mountain, get back Bloodghast, get back Amalgam. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. I imagine they uptick Lily, play a land, and then play Kroxa. Okay. Opponent upticks Lily. They played a tap land. I'm gonna discard... Alright, doesn't matter. Opponent gives up. Cool. So Grave Hate out of the side. What is my opponent gonna have? Let's take a look here. Okay. I can't find anything, which tells me they're not playing a necessarily meta list. Which tells me I'm probably going to want Ancient Grudge, Nature's Claim, and Blast Zone. Blood Moon seems like it might be quite nice against my opponent, as is Leyline of Sanctity. The problem is, I have to keep the Dredge deck still being Dredge. I kind of like Leyline of the Void as well, but that strikes me as for the opposing Dredge matchup only. Blood Moon and Magus of the Moon aren't too bad, but I think in this matchup, I'm going to cut a couple of Bloodghasts, a Shriekhorn, Cathartic Reunion, 1 Loam, and I'm going to run 61 cards. Actually, I should have cut an Arid Mesa, but I forgot I was bringing in Blast Zone. Okay, I've got to keep this hand, even with no Dredgers. The fact that we can get Stomping Ground, have access to Nature's Claim, and have a Shriekhorn here is really important. Opponent scoops the match. And that's how you do it, folks. You bring in a Leyline of Sanctity and your opponent scoops. Turn 0. They didn't even play a land. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 4. Alright, we're on the play for round 4. I will keep this hand. It's a little slow, but, I mean, it gets the job done in theory. So, I'm going to lead on Bloodstain Mire, fetch Basic Mountain, and Conflagrate for 0. Pass the turn. Opponent leads on Urborg, fixes our mana for us, Inquisitions, and puts a Dredger in the yard. Perfect. We untap. Dredge. Creeping Chill. Alright. We'll use Creeping Chill's ability. Go to our main phase. I think we play Mana Confluence here. We will Conflagrate our opponent for 2, ditching Stinkweed Imp and Ox. Alright, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Marsh Flats. We untap. Dredge the Imp. We hit a Narcomoeba, which, a little bit unfortunate, but still works. Not getting very lucky Dredges here. Get back the Ox, leaving the Stomping Ground in the grave. So discard our hand. Dredge, Dredge, Dredge. Alright. Pass the turn. We can get back our Bloodghasts at any time. Opponent cycles Unearth. So I think what we'll do is we'll fetch on our opponent's second main to get back the Bloodghasts and get back the Amalgams on the end step. Or our opponent will just concede. I don't know what they're playing, but they're playing Unearth, and they're playing Hand Hate. So we're going to bring in Leyline of Sanctity, Leyline of the Void, Nature's Claim, Ancient Grudge, and Blast Zone. We're going to cut an Arid Mesa, 2 Bloodghasts, a Shriekhorn, 1 Cathartic Reunion, 1 Loam, and I'm going to run 61 cards. Because I'm bad at this game, and don't know how to sideboard with Dredge. Alright, can't keep a no-lander. At least not that one, anyway. This is tempting, but I think we can do better on 5. This is a turn 2 Thrilling Discovery. My opponent mulliganed to 6 and kept 6. I think I have to keep this, even though I'm not super thrilled about it. So I'm going to put back a Bloodstain Mire and Mana Confluence. Opponent starts Marsh Flats and passes. We draw Blast Zone, play Bloodstain Mire, pass the turn. Opponent cracks Marsh Flats. Gets a Godless Shrine tapped. They untap. They play Silent Clearing. Crack Bloodstained Mire. Get a Stomping Ground. We untap. Draw Narcomoeba. I think I'm going to go for the Thrilling Discovery here. We will use its ability. Discard Loam and Imp. Dredge Imp. Dredge Imp. And Dredge Thug. Get back some Narcomoebas. If they have like a Ravenous Trap here, we're screwed. Surgical would also be bad. They have Extirpate, so they can hit the Narcomoebas. I think it's better to hit the Amalgams there, but who knows? My opponent could have a second Extirpate or a second Surgical effect. Alright, well, pass to our opponent's turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Swamp. Lingering Souls. We untap. Dredge. I think I dredge Loam here. Okay. So we can go ahead and Loam. Wooded Foothills, Sacred Foundry, Wooded Foothills. Play Sacred Foundry tapped. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They cycle Silent Clearing. They play a Marsh Flats and attack us for 2. We untap. Dredge Loam. We hit a Creeping Chill. We will use its ability. Go to our main. I think I'm actually just going to cast out this Stinkweed Imp. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Marsh Flats. Gets a Temple Garden. They untap. Black, white. Vanishing Verse. So this is just an Orzhov mid-range / control list. They hit us for 2. We untap. Dredge Thug. Hit a Creeping Chill. I do have one more Thug. I can Loam. Pick up a bunch of lands. I can almost make just a lethal Conflagrate. If they extirpate Conflagrate here, we only have the 1, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal. If they extirpate Prized Amalgam, that would be bad. Well, I do want to go for a lethal Conflagrate. If my opponent's pump faking that they've got it, I think I'm better off just to dump my whole hand here. We'll kill the token, shoot my opponent for 5, and now if we hit our other Creeping Chills, we win. Unless they can gain life with, like, what's it called? Kaya's Guile. We untap. Dredge Imp. Okay. Well, now that we have priority, let's go ahead and we'll reanimate an Ox. We're holding Imp in hand, so they can't, like, extirpate Imp in response. Trigger the Amalgams. Surgically extract Amalgams. Unless they have another Extirpate or Surgical, they're going to be in trouble. Because we can just dredge for the... They have to have another Surgical because they don't have another black land. Dredge, Dredge, Dredge Dackmore Salvage. It's not quite as deep as I could have possibly gone, but I'm taking my opponent to 3, and I'm going to get back Bloodghast with haste, I guess. Go to combat. Attack them for 2. They chump. Okay. Opponent untaps. As long as they don't have a big way to gain life, they Vanishing Verse the Ox. They hit us for 1. We untap. Dredge Thug. Go to our main. Go for the Ox. So we dump our hand. Dredge Loam. Dredge Loam. Oh, I couldn't do that because I have to draw a 3rd card. I killed myself. Okay. Alright, Kano. Here I thought I had the guaranteed 3 damage. Turns out I didn't because I'm a moron. Okay, well, I don't know if I can rely on my opponent to be so stupid with their Surgicals this time around. Knowing that their Grave Hate is going to be almost all Surgical and Extirpate based, I'm going to change up the sideboard, bringing in a Dark Blast for the tokens, going back up to 3 Bloodghasts, and yeah, we'll try it like this. Well, we do have a Dredger, and we do have some Amalgams. We don't have Leyline. This is tempting, but I don't know why. I don't think this hand is good. Oh, mulligan. This is not that much better, really, if at all, but I'm going to keep. So we're going to lead on Bloodstained Mire. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Marsh Flats. Crack Bloodstained Mire. We'll get Stomping Ground. We untap. We draw Creeping Chill. So shock Sacred Foundry. Red, white. We will use Thrilling Discovery's ability. Discard Dackmore Salvage and Creeping Chill. Dredge. 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 Get back Narcomoeba. Triggers Amalgam. Get back Narcomoeba. Triggers Amalgam. Okay, so opponent's probably going to extirpate Amalgam here. Nope, they fetch a Triome. Okay, we drain them. Then we pass, getting back our Amalgam. Opponent plays a Flagstones of Trocare into a Stoneforge Mystic. They get Batterskull. We untap, Dredge Stinkweed Imp, or main. We can't get haste any way that I know how here. I guess we Thrilling Discovery again. We will use its ability, discard Imp and Imp. Get back Imp, Imp, Thug. There is a Bloodghast. So play the Dakmor Salvage, trigger Bloodghast, trigger Amalgam, go to combat. Attack with everybody. We did take out our Ancient Grudge, so our opponent can Batterskull and block. They play Flagstones, Legend Ruling Flagstones, tutoring up probably a Godless Shrine or another Indatha Triome. Okay. They may activate now to put Batterskull into play and then just leave. Alright, Kaya's Guile. They're going to exile our grave and make a spirit. Well, this is a lot worse than Batterskull, and also does not play around third Cathartic Reunion effect. Dredge, no replacement effect. Get back Narcomoeba, trigger Amalgam, go to combat, swing out. Okay, they're going to block the Bloodghast. They go to 3. Then on their end step, we get back Amalgam, pass the turn. They're dead to Conflagrate currently, so they need a Kaya's Guile. They can put Batterskull into play. I'm going to Conflagrate X6. Actually, if I do it X7, if I Conflagrate X7 here, that plays around Kaya's Guile, gaining them 4 life. But if they Kaya's Guile, they won't have Batterskull. So we'll just do this X6. So opponent has to somehow gain life and, like, tap my whole board or something. Yeah, but that doesn't work, because we just attack after that. Nice! We win the match. Alright? I'll see you all in round 5. Alright, round 5, and we're on the draw. We do have Cathartic Reunion and a Dredge card, so I think I'm going to keep this. Opponent starts Colonnade. So even if Cathartic Reunion gets countered, we still get Dredge cards in grave. I'm going to lead on Arid Mesa and pass the turn. We're going to confuse them. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn. So we are going to fetch a Sacred Foundry tapped. We untap. We draw Ox. So Wooded Foothills. Fetch a Stomping Ground. That's right, I'm Naya Burn. Ditch Thug and Imp. Opponent can counter this, but, like, we're going to be able to Dredge next turn anyway. So Dredge. Get back a Narcomoeba. Get back 2 prized Amalgams. And drain our opponent. We put a Conflagrate in the grave. Excellent. So pass to our end step, get our Amalgams. Opponent Vapor Snags an Amalgam. That's interesting. Alright, they are 3 color. They bolt an Amalgam. We don't have a... I guess we do have Dredgers in the grave. I'm going to discard the Amalgam here. Opponent plays a Plains. Opponent plays Mantis Rider. Is this some kind of fair deck? They must have Force of Negation here. Dredge Thug. So Conflagrate. 3 damage there. And we'll say 4 damage here. Play Bloodstained Mire. Get back Bloodghast with haste. Trigger Amalgams. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 3 and take them to 7. Get back Amalgams on our end step. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a Sacred Foundry tapped. Snapcaster Mage, targeting Vapor Snag or Lightning Bolt? Vapor Snag. Okay. That's not going to do anything. They Vapor Snag an Amalgam. You got it. Well, I dislike raining on your parade, opponent. Dredge Imp. We get Creeping Chill and a Narcomoeba. Then we get to bring back the Ox. Ditch our hand. Dredge Imp. Dredge Dakmor Salvage. Dredge Imp. We hit another Creeping Chill and a Narcomoeba, and then we just swing and kill them. Alright. Jeskai Tempo, maybe? So I think we want Nature's Claim. I'll bring in an Ancient Grudge, a Leyline. Nah, we don't really need Leyline. They're not going to discard. It doesn't protect us against... It protects us against burn, but maybe I want a Dark Blast. Moon, or... The Moons might actually... I think I'm going to bring in the Moons here. Blood Moon and Magus. So cut Shriekhorn, cut Cathartic Reunion, cut a Loam. What else do I cut? One Bloodghast. I'll run 61 cards. I think this will work. I might want Leyline of Punishment if my opponent has a ridiculous number of life gain cards. But, alright. We don't have anti-grave hate, but this is a relatively quick dredge, so I'm going to keep. Hopefully my opponent doesn't go, like, turn 2 rest in peace on the play here. I mean, if they do, we just start cathartic reunioning and trying to find our nature's claims. Opponent fetches with Flooded Strand, gets a Hallowed Fountain tapped. They untap. They play an island. They play Rest in Peace. Okay. Shock Sacred Foundry. Cathartic Reunion. Ditching Narcomoeba. And a City of Brass. Opponent has Force of Negation, pitching Spell Queller. Alright, they only have 3 cards left. One of them is a Sacred Foundry. They play Mantis Rider, so they do have a clock. We untap. We draw Wooded Foothills. Play Wooded Foothills. Fetch with Wooded Foothills. Get a Stomping Ground untapped. Cathartic Reunion, ditching Imp and Mana Confluence. We found the Nature's Claim. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a land, goes to combat. I probably should have claimed on my turn to play around a counterspell, but we're getting hit and going to 9. We untap, we draw Creeping Chill, pass the turn. We are going to be dead before we discard to hand size, so we actually need to draw another Cathartic Reunion or similar spell. We won't draw the lands to play the Ox because we ditched a bunch. Ancient Grudge doesn't do it. I can probably go without Ancient Grudge and keep the increased cycling of Cathartic Reunion. Alright, we'll try like this. I would like to play first. This hand technically works. I will keep. So, Shock Stomping Ground, play Shriekhorn, pass the turn. Opponent plays Colonnade, passes. Mill ourself, untap, mill ourself, draw Sacred Foundry. Play Sacred Foundry tapped. Not gonna play around Censor. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. If they play Rest in Peace, we Nature's Claim on their turn. They crack Scalding Tarn. They get a Steam Vents. They play Rest in Peace, exiling the graves. We claim so they can't force. Untap, mill ourself. If we don't mill a Dredger, we really need to hit Cathartic Reunion. We milled Stinkweed Imp, so we dredge. We hit Narcomoeba, which gives us back a Prized Amalgam. Pass the turn. Now we need to start top-decking Cathartic Reunions, and our opponent has to have no more Grave Hate. If they have another Rest in Peace, we're probably screwed. Opponent untaps. Opponent plays Arid Mesa, cracks Arid Mesa, gets a Sacred Foundry. Lightning Helixes our face, and bolts our face. We draw a Loam, which is pretty good in terms of cards we could draw. Go to combat. Attack for 3. I'm going to leave Narcomoeba back on defense. Play Arid Mesa. I'm probably going to fetch a tap land here. This way I can either Dredge Loam and cast it, or I can Mana Confluence and then Creeping Chill. Opponent plays Geist of Saint Traft. So they are intending to race. So this is Jeskai Geist, it looks like, then. I haven't seen a deck like this in forever. Opponent plays a Colonnade. They only have 3 cards left. Crack Arid Mesa. Get Blood Crypt. Tapped. We untap. Dredge Loam. We found an Ox. I can't get enough cards in grave for Ox to matter. Not yet, anyway. So, go to combat. Attack for 3. Opponent does not block. Play Mana Confluence, and I'm going to play Stinkweed Imp this turn. Stinkweed Imp blocks very well. We can either kill Geist and like chump the Angel token it makes, or force our opponent to use Burn on a creature. Either way, this should put a Dredger in the grave if they attack. Unless they have Path, which is possible. Opponent plays an island. They play Mantis Rider. They go to combat, they attack. So we are going to chump the Angel and block the Mantis Rider. Take 2 and go to 9. They lose their token. We untap. Definitely Dredge Imp here. We hit a Creeping Chill, which is actually fantastic. Drain our opponent. Go to our main phase. We're going to go ahead and Ox, using particular red mana. I'm going to discard the Creeping Chills I have in hand. Hopefully they don't matter. So we're going to dredge probably Imp, and Loam. Dakmor Salvage. We do have a Conflagrate. So if I take Dakmor Salvage... Oh, perfect. I think my opponent's actually going to be pretty close to dead here. Then I can Conflagrate them for 2, paying red, getting rid of both Imps. They're going to go to 7. We can play Dakmor Salvage, get back Bloodghast, and then attack my opponent for 5. And they're going to 2. They can no longer shock any lands they draw, which means they can't just like animate Colonnade and swing out. Not that that would be lethal anyway. We have 3 separate attackers. Opponent attacks with Geist. So, block with the Ox. We take 4. We go to 10. Watch me get like Hidetsugu's second right. Anger of the Gods, okay. So we untap, Dredge Imp, hit a Narcomoeba, a Bloodghast too. So bring back the Ox, getting rid of a bunch of stuff that isn't Bloodghast. We get back an Amalgam this way, so we dredge Loam, and then I don't think we dredge anything else, actually. Get back another Narcomoeba, get back our Amalgams, cast Loam, play a Mountain, get back Bloodghast, go to combat. The way this goes wrong is if my opponent has Snapcaster and then can Anger again, but they don't have it, so we 4-1. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. I kind of blundered into that, I think. I had some good strategies, but I really feel like I undersold that. Ooh, so this is a great treasure chest for treasure chest number 1. We have Waterlogged Grove and Summoner's Pact. Waterlogged Grove being 3.5 tickets, Summoner's Pact being a ticket and a half, and of course 5 play points. Treasure chest number 2, 35 play points, and a Shaman of the Forgotten Ways. Treasure chest number 3, we've got 10 play points and a Hungering Hydra. Interesting. Treasure chest number 4, 5 play points, and Oran Reef, the Vastwood, and Remorseless Punishment. And treasure chest number 5. 20 play points and a Territorial Allosaurus. Alright, well, I hope that for the people who are wanting to see Dredge in the poll that I released a while back on YouTube, I hope that this satiated your appetite for a little bit. Like I said, I blundered a little bit. I'm not used to having only one Conflagrate, although it did kind of feel nice just having more of the direct combo of like Bloodghast, Narcomoeba, Prized Amalgam. 2 Ox still feels like a reasonable amount. I was never hurting to like try and draw an Ox. Not having access to Haggle is kind of weird because we basically have to rely on Cathartic Reunion or Thrilling Dredge, which means we're never really dredging on turn 1. We're almost always dredging on turn 2. But that's fine because Cathartic Reunion and Thrilling Discovery is such a powerful effect for Dredge. Just discarding 2 cards and then dredging half your deck is very powerful. This is kind of a sort of a glass cannon build, I think. A little bit more glass cannony, a little bit less consistent. But it felt good most of the time. I don't know how I feel about the sideboard, but I'm not that great at sideboarding, and I'm even less great at sideboarding in Dredge, so take that for what you will. I don't really have any other suggestions at this time, so if you enjoyed this content, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few times have been earlier than that. And yeah, hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye! Hey, just wanted to give a shout out to my patrons for the month of May. If you want to support my channel directly and have your name show up in this list, there's a link to my Patreon in the description down below. Thank you all.